Hello and most welcome to 1890 of the lecture series. We will today continue with the article by Francis Y. Lynn, Wittgenstein's Private Language Investigation. Last time we went into how criterion and the need for criterion seem to put everything into dire perspective when it comes to the idea of a private language, or as I also would say, the idea of that physicality itself can be the judge of how things are working. They can give facts by themselves, and they can, in sui, so to speak, all by themselves tell what the world is. That is most definitely not possible. It's something we look deeply into now. I think only going very thoroughly through how these grammatical things that we all can agree on works, can we come to an understanding of the true nature of language. So to cut it shortly, it's a bit, as long as you don't think thoroughly and deeply enough, you will still be in some sort of semi-idea that private language is actually possible. The reason for that is that you have not thought deeply enough. You have not read Wittgenstein's PI or Zettel. It's the only thinker that goes into these things. Once you get the realization, you realize understanding is not a particular mental state that could be detected by a manometer or some other device. It simply is not possible. Not because some empirical lack, but of grammatical reasons. And here we took up the manometer from the diarist, and whether that would simplify or leading to a possibility where we could define, understand the sensations that are inside the person. And how that could connect to the outer world is now, well, I come to realize that's beyond belief. That's really not possible in any world. It's a bit of nonsense. But you need to do the work to get to this understanding. And of course, we have put away a lot of work these last 6 or 7 months. Be pretty safe to say that almost everyone, also within neurology, until recently thought of things regarding private language be a possibility. But that is slowly yielding for this deeper understanding. At the very end, what we read last, it's an analogy between seeing red in the public case and feeling S in the private case. It's the second sentence on the second paragraph on 274. So you see there is a parallel between the outside problematics and the inside problematics. There is perpetually something mirroring both the inside and the outside problem. The outside problem being the idea that physicality in itself, and sui, can tell everything, and the other side of the problem, the other parallel or the mirror side, the chiral side almost, is the inner teller of things. Often referred to psychological factors or neurons or states of the brain. The brain, the manometer can tell a range, a leveling in the pulse, but it cannot tell what the person is feeling. If he's seeing red or if he's being upset and so on. A third way of approaching this can be done through the way of Carlo Rovelli, where everything in the whole global take is important. The outside, the inside, the observer, but also the so-called physicality of things. They all play very important roles. There's no possibility of getting rid of any one of those. And only when we do that can we have a sort of complete picture. I will continue. This is going to be a short one as well, even shorter maybe, on the third paragraph on page 274. That there is no criterion of correctness in the diary case has an important consequence. Since there is no way for the diarist to identify later sensations as S or not as S, it is faulty to talk about recording the recurrence of a certain sensation. Wittgenstein explains this as follows. If we go through with the idea of a private experience which we do not know.
Don't know.
No. We cannot talk of a certain private experience either.
Experience.
Because this expression is taken from the case in which it alludes to a certain class of experiences which we know. Though we do not know which one of its members he has.
Yes.
Members. One might suggest the word toothache.
Yeah. Uch, I,
Uchach. Toothache stands on the one hand for a behavior and on the other hand for a private experience. The connection is that when a man has the private experience, he tends to behave in a particular way.
way, my way.
Way.
I did it my way.
I did it my way.
La 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 la.
But why should you talk of a private experience and not 100 private experience? As you don't know whether this is only one or whether there are 100. Or thousands. Could be a million. In the diary case, one might say that the word S stands for private sensation. But why talk of a private sensation and not 100 private sensations? Sensations.
Sensations. Oh.
The diary says that at T1, T2, he has S sensations. That is that the same sensation S occurs at all these different times. But why not say that he has he has 100 sensations? That is at T, he has S, and at 3, U, etc. The sensations at all these times are physically different, and there's no way to tell whether they belong to one type or 100 types. The sensations at all these times are physically different. And there is no way to tell whether they belong to one type or 100 types. Wittgenstein expresses the same point in notes for the philosophical lecture PL hereafter. The point is that an essentially private object can't justify the use of a word neither for the others nor for him. A private object does not only not enter the public game, but it can't enter a private game either. You can see this. That is, for instance, if you replace the one private object, which is to justify his use of a pain expression, by a series of different objects which he has at different times. When he says he has pain, but surely the use of the word pain is based on the fact that he recognizes his private object as always being the same on those occasions. Occasions.
Okay.
What he mean in this case by being the same or by recognizing? Neither he nor we have ever learned to apply these words to private object, to his private object. Supposing instead of he recognizes the object, we said more cautiously, he believes he recognizes. But then we ought to say that he believes that he believes he recognizes it, and so on ad infinitum. Infinitum. Infinitum.
Infinitum. Ad infinitum.
In other words, if this object is as private as we want it to be, we have no reason to call it one object rather than 100 objects. We have no reason to apply the word object at all, and no more has he. And already after half a page, we need to put a stop, be extremely short. Has he is the last one here.
Indeed. And has he?
Very good.
Page 275. 19 in the PDF.
275, indeed. We go back to page 274. The first sentence is very domineering already, that there is no criterion of correctness in the diary case has an important consequence. Since there is no way for the diarist to identify later sensations as S or not as S, it is faulty to talk about recording the recurrence of a certain sensation. Certain sensation is the important thing here. There is no longer any certainty when you are idealistically locked into your own private beetle box. There will be no chance of telling any thought from another, any characteristic or characteristics. You will not know what's up, you will not know what's down. More and more, I see a similarity here with these understandings and chirality. It's just a hunch so far, but the chirality is bringing both inside and outside. We can only understand a left turn chirality if our mind is there. There's no way of explaining it. That is, using rule number 2, according to Lin, all bachelors are unmarried and so on. We cannot explain chirality if it's left or right. We simply can only get the criterion by being there. That is an absolute necessity. Without our presence, there is no way of privately, so to speak, understand it. I think now I realize, this is just hunches here. This is a very short lecture. Sorry about that. My fault. I had some domestic problems here. Well, not of the kind of, more the kind of bugs need to take care of. But there is a thing here. Chirality was for us maybe the very first lead we had into what later became the first Wittgenstein I went through was Paul Johnston. So we more decisively got into this, and now with Francis Y. Lin, it becomes really clear absolutely clear, I would say, even what is happening, wherein lies the problem. Well, the problem lies in the idea that you could use an X, Y, Z diagram and the time axis to tell whether something is chirally left or chirally right. You cannot use autocorrect physicality. You need criterions of the perceiving person. So there are two sides of the same coin. And chirality, oddly enough, also has two sides. There's an inherent anti-clockwise chirality or anti-chirality in each chirality. We go to the next line here, the third one, beginning with but, also coming from LPE. But why should you talk of a private experience? It is quite funny, and not 100 private experiences, as you do not know whether there is only one or whether there are 100. I mean, that's a bit sharp, but it's actually very clear. How do you know the difference? Because you can't even tell them apart. Even the private experiences cannot be told apart. So you don't know how many you had or will have, or how many you are actually having in this case. I think this is a pretty marvelous objection as well. For all sakes, it could be 1,000,000. This is a nice expansion of the previous in the 1887 lecture when we spoke about we don't know. It's like saying somebody has a bank account, but we don't know if it's a debit or a credit or if it's nothing in there at all. It's nonsensical. That goes to the quality, and now we have the quantity. We cannot tell qualitatively what's inside, and we cannot say quantitatively how much experience we have. Kalle, please jump into this short. Got a few minutes.
So S stands for the illusion of sameness. The illusion of sameness that you can have your own, so to say, religion. I have my own God today, and tomorrow I have the same God, but it's only an illusion, since you can.
You don't even know if it's the same God.
And by the way, iteration is the true where we should arrive, and not sameness.
Yes.
Iteration is so you need to take in the whole world, as you say so often, Hans.
Yeah, it's the global reality that yields.
You need the repetition, but it's not the private repetition. In dialogue.
Yeah, it's a dialogue, it's an entering and exiting. We have spoken before with the mouth and with the anus. Exiting, entering.
Yeah, absolutely. Why is private religion so problematic if you compare, let's say, with quantum physics? In classical physics, everything can be defined in small areas, so to say. They are not related. One area is not related to another.
No, there's no relation in classical physics. That's what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, everything is disjunct. At the very outset, Newton constructed a new space, which was presented in his Principia of 1689. And
he thought that every space is homogeneous.
Yeah, there you get it. Yeah, very good.
Hmm.
Little kernels of rice are put on equal distances. And your friend there, Leibniz, he had some objections, said, how do we even know that they are equidistant? There's no measuring going on. There's no observer doing any measuring.
Yeah, so Newton, we could say, is actually a kind of private language because Newton is outside the observation. He has his measuring device, but he's outside. And the measuring device is also outside. And you have only, you don't include even the frame. So you have only the inside. It's a box without a box, so to say, without a frame.
Yeah, it's a very good, congrats. It's a box without a box. For it to be a box, there needs somebody to hold the box, to see the box, touch the box, do the box. And this is what Newton did. He put out rice, and then he effectively removed them. So there were rice without rice. It's a trick. He had good use for it in his mechanical theories. And they work to a certain extent in a very, very limited way, in technology only.
And the problem is that when you try to apply it to your own life.
Yeah, we all do that. Academia does it today. Neurology did it. I would say the whole subject of neurology did it until pretty recently, like a decade or two before. And it most definitely plagues your own areas there, Bible interpretation. Everyone is looking for the original without any connection to anything living tradition or doing. It's just a Newtonian, unconnected original. As you so aptly put it, Kalle, a box without a box. Can I keep that one? Very good. I'm afraid we have to end there. I will stop the recording first. You can linger on for a while there. I say thank you very much for everyone for participating. Have a very beautiful morning, day or evening, wherever you are. See you next. Bye-bye.